The Old Clock's Secret. In the heart of a quaint village, nestled between rolling hills and dense forests, there stood an ancient clock tower. The clock was the pride of the village, having ticked away the seconds, minutes, and hours for centuries. Its deep, resonant chimes marked the passage of time, guiding the villagers through their daily routines. No one could remember a time when the clock had ever faltered. It was as reliable as the sunrise, and just as beloved. Liza, a young woman with a kind heart and a curious spirit, had lived in the village her whole life. She often found herself wandering to the square where the clock tower stood, watching the hands move steadily across its face. The clock had always fascinated her, as had the stories her grandmother used to tell her about its mysterious origins. One chilly autumn morning, as the leaves turned golden and the air grew crisp, Liza noticed something strange. The clock's hands, which usually moved forward with unwavering precision, had started ticking backward. It was slow at first, almost imperceptible, but Liza's sharp eyes caught it. She stared in disbelief, thinking perhaps it was a trick of the light or her imagination playing games. But as she watched, the hands continued to move backward, inching slowly toward midnight. Panic spread through the village as word of the clock's odd behavior reached every corner. The villagers gathered in the square, murmuring among themselves. Some feared that the clock's reversal was an omen, a sign of impending doom. Others thought it might be a mechanical failure, though no one could remember the last time the clock had needed repair. Liza, however, felt a strange sense of calm. The backward ticking seemed deliberate, purposeful, as if the clock was trying to tell them something. Determined to uncover the truth, she climbed the narrow stairs inside the clock tower, each step echoing against the stone walls. At the top, she found the ancient mechanisms, gears turning steadily despite their reverse motion. As Liza examined the machinery, she discovered an old, dusty journal tucked away in a corner, hidden beneath layers of cobwebs. The leather cover was cracked with age, and the pages were brittle. But the writing inside was still legible. The journal belonged to a clockmaker from long ago, the very one who had built the clock. The clockmaker's entries spoke of a special mechanism he had designed, one that could make the clock tick backward. But it was no ordinary reversal. He had built it to count down to a special event, something he described as a reunion of lost souls. The clock, he wrote, would only activate this mechanism when the time was right, when the village needed to be reminded of something important. Liza's heart raced as she read the final entry. The clockmaker believed that time was not just a measure of minutes and hours, but a force that could bring people together, heal old wounds, and restore what was once lost. His final words were a warning and a promise: when the clock turns back, prepare for the return of those long gone. With this revelation, Liza hurried back to the village square. The clock was now counting down faster, the hands spinning toward midnight. The villagers watched in silence, fear and hope mingling in their hearts. Liza shared what she had learned from the journal, and the mood shifted from anxiety to anticipation. They realized that the clock wasn't malfunctioning, it was fulfilling its ancient purpose. As the clock struck midnight, the air in the square shimmered, and a soft, warm light enveloped the villagers. They heard distant voices, familiar and comforting, growing louder with each passing moment. From the edges of the square, figures began to emerge, loved ones who had been lost to time, returning as if they had never left. Liza's eyes filled with tears as she saw her grandmother, who had passed away years before, walking toward her with a gentle smile. The villagers embraced their returned loved ones, their joy overflowing as they were reunited with those they had thought were gone forever. It was a night of miracles, where the past and present intertwined, and time seemed to stand still. As the night wore on, the clock slowly returned to its normal forward motion, ticking away the seconds once more. The villagers knew that their reunion was temporary, but the memories they made that night would last a lifetime. They understood now that time, though it marched on relentlessly, had a way of bringing back what was truly important. The next morning, the village was filled with a renewed sense of hope and gratitude. Liza stood in the square, watching the clock, now back to its usual steady rhythm. She knew that time was precious, a gift to be cherished. The clock had reminded them all that while time can take away, it can also give back in ways they never imagined. And so, the ancient clock continued to tick, its secret now known to those who would listen. Lisa smiled as she thought of her grandmother's words, "Time has a way of surprising us, my dear. It's not just about counting the moments but living in them, for you never know what time might bring back to you." Moral of the story is, time is precious, and sometimes it brings back what we thought was lost forever. It is not just a measure of our days, but a force that connects us to the past, the present, and the future. We should cherish every moment, for in time, even the lost can be found again.